Mara's back slammed against the glass wall before she could scream. Adrian's hand covered her mouth, his body shielding hers as red security lights flashed across the penthouse. "Don't move," he whispered, his breath harsh, controlled, too close. "He's here." Her heartbeat hammered so loudly she thought he could hear it. His grip on her wrist tightened, not in violence, but in urgent command. "Mara, breathe slowly," he murmured. She tried, but fear pumped through her like fire. Then Adrian's eyes cut to the elevator doors behind them, sharp, lethal, calculating, before he dragged her into the shadow of a column. A voice echoed from outside the penthouse door. "That girl doesn't belong to you, Voss." Mara's eyes widened. Adrian leaned in so close his lips almost brushed her ear. "I said don't move." 2 weeks earlier, Mara sat on the edge of her bed with her laptop open and her bank app glowing red like a wound. Past due, overdue. 3 notifications, same date. "God, not again," she whispered. Her best friend Zara called right on cue. "Mara, don't freak out." "I'm not freaking out. I'm spiraling quietly." "Same thing. What happened now?" "I need 60,000 by Friday or my landlord changes the locks." Zara exhaled hard. "Girl, that's a burial." Mara squeezed her eyes shut. "If I can just get one big event job this month, A notification buzzed. "Unknown number. Private client requesting your services. Urgent. High pay." Zara screamed through the speaker. "Take it." Mara blinked. "What if it's a scam? What if it's your destiny? Call them now." Her hand trembled as she dialed back. A smooth male voice answered. "You're Mara Lawson?" "Yes, sir. Event designer." "You come highly recommended. The client expects you at 7 p.m. Dress professionally. Address will follow shortly." Click. Zara whispered. "Tell me why that sounded like God, but with money." At 7 p.m. sharp, Mara stepped into the tallest building in the city. The elevator doors opened into a penthouse so grand it felt like another world. She expected a team, a secretary, a manager, but a single man stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows. Adrian Voss. Tall, sharp-jawed, unreadable. The kind of man who didn't walk, he owned every step. He turned slowly, his eyes landing on Mara like he'd been waiting for her. "So you're Mara Lawson?" The way he said her name made her swallow hard. "Yes, I came about the event." He didn't answer immediately. He simply studied her. First her eyes, then her posture, then her hands. Mara felt her cheeks warm. "Is something wrong?" "No," Adrian said softly. "You're exactly as I expected." "Meaning, what?" He stepped closer. Too close. Mara instinctively stepped back. He noticed and smirked barely. "Meaning," he said, "you have a presence most people don't." Her breath hitched. Why did that sound more intimate than a compliment? He led her to a minimalist table with a single folder. "I need a gala designed in 7 days," Adrian said. "The budget is unlimited, so is the pressure." "Unlimited?" Mara repeated. I can't guarantee." "You'll manage." He pushed the contract toward her. "You're talented enough." Her panic rose. "I need 50% up front." "Done. That includes materials, transport, and all covered." Mara blinked. "You don't even know if I'm the right person for this." His eyes dropped to her lips for a second. Barely noticeable, but she noticed. "I know exactly who you are, Mara." She froze. "Have we met before?" "No." But he said it too quickly. She didn't like that. As Mara turned to leave, Adrian spoke again. "You didn't drive here." "No, I took a bus." "You won't do that again." She frowned. "Sorry? I'll send a driver for you tomorrow. It's safer." "I never said it wasn't safe." "I did." She felt an irritating spark. "Look, Mr. Boss, I handle my own transportation. It's fine." He stepped closer, close enough for her to feel the heat of his body. "Your safety won't be left to chance," Adrian murmured. There it was again, a tone that sounded less like a suggestion and more like a rule. Mara forced a smile. "I appreciate the concern, but I'm not your responsibility." Adrian's jaw flexed. "For now." The next morning, Mara came downstairs to find a black luxury car waiting outside her apartment. She groaned. "Oh no, 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 no." The driver stepped out. "Miss Mara Lawson?" Mara rubbed her forehead. "I didn't request this. Please tell your boss I'll be fine on my own." The driver smiled politely. "Ma'am, with respect, no one says no to Mr. Voss." "Watch me," she muttered. Yet, when he opened the door, she hesitated. Her bank balance flashed in her mind. Her rent. Her desperation. She exhaled and climbed in. That evening, Mara stayed late at Adrian's penthouse to present updated layouts. She spread her samples on the floor, kneeling to organize them. Adrian watched her with an intensity that made her chest tighten. Suddenly, she shifted her weight and slipped. "Ah!" He caught her, fast, firm, one arm around her waist, the other braced behind her head. Their faces hovered inches apart. Her breath hitched, his chest rose and fell sharply. "Mara," he murmured, voice low, "you really need to stop falling. I can't keep catching you like this." She whispered, "Then stop standing so close." His eyes darkened. "I can't." Their lips nearly touched, but Mara pushed lightly against his chest. I'm going home. Not without your driver. Adrian, stop. Mara, he said firmly, I will not argue. She clenched her jaw, grabbed her bag and walked away, heart racing hard enough to choke her. Mara jerked back instinctively, her fingers slipping from the doorknob. What are you doing here? Adrian didn't move from the doorway. He didn't push in aggressively. That almost made it worse. He simply stood there, composed, unreadable, as though he had every right to be exactly where she was. You left the restaurant in a hurry, he said calmly. You forgot something. Her pulse thudded anxiously. Forgot what? You'll see, he replied, tilting his head the slightest bit. May I come in? That request, gentle, polite, felt like a trap wrapped in velvet. Mara swallowed hard. She wanted to say no. Every instinct told her to shut the door, bolt it, and hide under a blanket. But the corridor was empty. She was alone. And Adrian's eyes were locked on her with a patience that made her feel cornered without him ever touching her. She opened the door just wide enough. Just for a minute. His smile flickered, too brief to trust. He stepped inside, and she closed the door behind. The air shifted immediately, warmer, heavier, tense. What did I forget? She asked again, arms folded tightly. This. Adrian reached into his coat and pulled out her bracelet, the silver one her grandmother gave her. A bracelet she honestly hadn't realized was missing. Her eyes widened. Oh, thank you, He stepped closer. You rushed off after our conversation. I thought maybe I overwhelmed you. His tone was soft, almost apologetic, yet somehow loaded. Concern climbed up her spine. She cleared her throat. It's fine, really. Mara, he said, voice dropping, I don't want to be fine. She froze. His gaze wasn't predatory, but it was intense enough to hold her still. I want to be honest. Honest? She barely knew him. What do you mean? She whispered. You're afraid of me, Adrian said plainly. The words hit her chest like a shove. No, I don't like surprises, or people showing up at my door without telling me. Fair, he murmured, stepping back slightly, as if giving her space made this less strange. I should have texted. I'm sorry. The apology sounded real. It made her shoulders loosen just enough. But, he continued slowly, I also think you're afraid because you felt something that startled you. She stiffened again. Adrian, you don't want anyone taking over your life, he said, voice low. You've built walls, high ones. I saw it in your eyes the moment you walked in earlier. This wasn't just concern. This was precision. He spoke like someone who read her before she spoke a word. She stepped back. I think you should go. His jaw clenched slightly, but he nodded. If that's what you want, it is. He headed toward the door, but right as he touched the knob, he paused. Just one question, he said, not turning around. Why are you shaking? Mara's breath caught. She quickly hid her hands behind her back, but the tremor had already betrayed her. I'm not, she lied. He slowly turned, eyes softer than before. You don't have to be afraid of me. But I am, she admitted impulsively, hating how small her voice sounded. Why? Because he made her feel seen, too seen. Because he felt like someone who could slip into the cracks of her life with disturbing ease. Because he didn't just look at her, he studied her. She didn't answer. Adrian exhaled, stepping backward until his back touched the door. I don't want to hurt you, Mara, and I don't want control over your every breath. Her heart went still, the same line she'd read in that article. This same eerie phrasing that stirred something dark and fascinated inside her. He saw her reaction. That bothers you, he said softly. Why? Because it sounds like you know exactly how to manipulate someone. A long silence. Adrian didn't break eye contact. I know how to protect someone, he corrected quietly, and sometimes protection looks like control to people who've only experienced danger. Something in his tone, a buried pain, made her inhale sharply. Before she could respond, footsteps echoed down the corridor outside. Heavy, rushed. Someone stopped right in front of Mara's door. Mara and Adrian both looked toward it. 3 seconds later, bang, bang, someone pounded violently on the wood. Mara jumped. Adrian's head snapped toward the sound, his expression shifting completely. Gone was the calm intensity. Something sharper replaced it. Expecting anyone? He whispered. She shook her head quickly. Open up! A rough male voice shouted. Her stomach dropped. Fear slid into her limbs like ice water. She recognized that voice instantly. Jude, her ex-boyfriend. Her unstable, unpredictable ex-boyfriend. Adrian's posture transformed. Shoulders squared, stance angled slightly in front of her. Protective, calculated, deadly calm. Does he hurt you? Adrian asked quietly, eyes forward. That's none of your business, she whispered harshly, but panic cracked through her voice. Another violent bang rattled the hinges. I know you're in there, Mara. Open this damn door. Mara, Adrian Nuff said, voice low and steady. Step behind me. No, she whispered, but her feet betrayed her, drifting backward. Open the door, Jude roared, slamming it again. Adrian didn't flinch. His voice dropped to something almost dangerous. If he forces his way in, I will deal with it. Deal with it, how? She hissed. Adrian looked over his shoulder, and the brief glimpse of coldness in his eyes made her breath hitch. Calmly, he said, and permanently. Fear twisted inside her. Fear of Jude, fear of Adrian, fear of the entire spiraling moment. Mara! Jude yelled again. Her heart hammered so loudly she felt it in her throat. She couldn't think straight, couldn't breathe. Adrian spoke softly, his voice a terrifying kind of soothing. I need you to choose something. Choose what? His eyes locked on hers. Do you want me to open the door, or should I make him leave? She shook her head rapidly, panic spiking. Adrian, please, don't do anything stupid. I won't, he said. But I won't let him touch you. She swallowed, trembling. Why do you care? He didn't look away from her. Because you're not invisible to me, Mara. Not the way you think. The pounding stopped abruptly. Silence. Then Jude's voice, low and threatening. Fine. If you won't open it, I'll wait. Mara's blood ran cold. Adrian watched her, analyzing every shiver, every breath. See, he murmured. This is why you're afraid. Of you, she whispered. No, he said softly. I need someone like me. Her throat tightened painfully. Outside, Jude's footsteps faded, but not far enough. Inside, Adrian took one slow step toward her. Tell me what you want me to do, he said. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. Adrian lowered his voice into something dark and calm. Choose, Mara. Jude's footsteps had barely faded when a loud crash echoed from downstairs, something metallic hitting the ground, followed by a muffled curse. Mara flinched, grabbing the back of her sofa as her breath stuttered. Adrian turned his head sharply. He's not gone. How do you know? Mara whispered. He's waiting, Adrian muttered, tone unreadable. Predators hide before they strike. Her stomach twisted. Adrian, he's not a predator. Then why were you shaking when he knocked? His voice wasn't harsh, just blunt, too blunt. She didn't answer, she couldn't. Adrian stepped closer, studying her face with laser precision. Tell me what he did to you. Nothing, she insisted immediately. His eyes narrowed. Lying makes you blink faster. You blinked 7 times just now. She froze. How do you even notice things like that? I trained myself too. He glanced toward the door. Some people need to be watched closely. A chill ran through Mara's body. Fear, confusion, a strange pull she hated to acknowledge. Another crash sounded below, louder this time. Mara grabbed Adrian's arm instinctively. Please don't go out there. He turned to her slowly. Then tell me what you want. I don't know, she whispered, voice cracking. Yes, you do, he said softly. Your body knows even when your words don't. That's manipulative, she snapped. It's honest, he corrected. She released his arm, taking a shaky breath. Why are you like this? Why do you talk like you've known me forever? Because I understand patterns, Adrian replied. And I understand people who pretend to be strong because they've never had anyone safe to fall against. The words hit too close. Her chest tightened painfully. Stop talking like you know my life. I know your fear, he said. And what fear is that? You're terrified someone will break you again. A flash of embarrassment burned her cheeks. You don't know anything about Jude and me. If he made you this afraid, I know enough. She opened her mouth to argue, but a sharp crunch echoed from outside the window, like a shoe stepping on broken glass. Mara's heart punched her ribcage. Adrian. He placed a hand gently but firmly on her arm. Stay behind me. No, she whispered. No, don't do anything. I'll talk to him. I'll tell him to leave. Adrian gave her a look so cold it sliced her words in half. You owe him nothing. Another sound, closer. A shadow moved just outside the window. Mara's breath caught. Oh God, he's right there. Adrian's expression darkened, not angry but focused, calculating. If he enters, Adrian said quietly, I won't hold back. Terror surged through Mara. Adrian, don't do anything crazy. A sudden fist smashed against the window. Mara screamed, stumbling backward. Jude's voice bellowed through the glass. I know you're not alone, Mara. She covered her mouth, shaking uncontrollably. Adrian stepped forward, positioning himself between her and the window like a shield. Leave, Adrian said, calm, steady, terrifyingly controlled. Who the hell are you? Jude shouted. The wrong person to threaten, Adrian replied. Jude punched the glass again. A long crack splintered outward. Mara clutched Adrian's sleeve. Please don't open the window. He's not in his right mind. Neither am I, Adrian murmured. She stared at him. What does that mean? It means I don't tolerate threats, he said quietly. Not to me, not to you. Why do you care so much? She cried. He turned to her, eyes intense. Because I choose who I protect, and I've chosen you. Her mouth parted, but no words came out. Shock rippled through her so hard her knees weakened. Adrian, she whispered, you're scaring me. I'm telling you the truth. Your truth is too much. And your fear is eating you alive. I'm not afraid of Jude, she snapped. You should be. Before she could respond, Jude suddenly grabbed the edges of the window pane and yanked hard. The crack widened, glass groaning under the pressure. Mara gasped. "Stop! Jude, stop!" Jude laughed, a wild, unhinged sound. "Now you want to talk?" Adrian stepped forward again. "Touch that window again, and you won't walk away." Jude spat toward the glass. "Try me." The next moment happened too fast for Mara's eyes to track. Adrian crossed the room in 3 long strides, grabbed the curtain rod and, without saying a word, slammed it hard against the window frame. Not at Jude, at the frame, destabilizing it. The entire pane cracked down the center with an explosive snap. Jude screamed, startled, stumbling backwards. Mara's heart nearly stopped. "Adrian, what are you doing?" He didn't answer. He stared at Jude through the fractured glass with an expression Mara had never seen on a human face. Icy, calculating, utterly fearless. Jude pointed a shaking finger. "You're dead. You're both dead." He ran off, footsteps pounding away into the night. Mara pressed her hands over her heart, panting. Why? Why did you break my window?" Adrian finally looked at her, breathing a little harder than before. It scared him. "That scared me," she cried. "You're safe." "How?" "He's coming back, Adrian. He's coming back worse." "I know." Her eyes widened with horror. "Then why aren't you worried?" Adrian stepped close, too close, lowering his voice to a chilling whisper. "Because I want him to come back." Mara's breath hitched so sharply she felt dizzy. "Why?" "So I can finish this." Her skin prickled with fear. "You don't get to decide that. You chose me the moment you grabbed my arm," he said matter-of-factly. "You asked me not to leave, so I'm staying." "That's not a choice," she protested, voice cracking. "It is," he insisted. "No," she whispered hoarsely. "You're twisting everything." "I'm reading you," he murmured. "Stop." "You don't want me to." "I do," she said, but her voice trembled. He leaned in just enough for her to feel his breath near her cheek. "Tell me honestly, do you want me to leave you alone with him?" She closed her eyes. The honest answer terrified her. "No," she finally whispered, "but I don't want you to hurt him either." Adrian's voice dropped into a chilling softness. "Then make sure he doesn't try to force his way in again." "How?" she asked helplessly. He placed a hand over her trembling one. "Stay close to me." A loud shout echoed from outside, the unmistakable sound of Jude returning. Mara's heart stopped. Adrian smiled, a smile that felt like fire meeting gasoline. "Round 2, he murmured. Jude's angry shout echoed from outside again, closer this time, aggressive, reckless. Mara felt the blood drain from her face. "Adrian, please don't go near him, please." Adrian didn't look back at her. He walked toward the door with a controlled, predator-like stride. "Stay behind me." "No, Adrian, listen." Mara grabbed his arm. "You will make everything worse." He stopped. Finally, he turned to her, and for once, the sharpness in his eyes softened, just slightly. "You're shaking." "Because this is insane," she whispered. "You're acting like you've been waiting for a fight." He didn't deny it. Instead, he gently pried her fingers from his arm, but didn't let go. He held her hand for a moment, grounding her, steadying her. "I'm not going to hurt him unless he leaves me no choice," Adrian said. "But I need to know you're safe. That's my priority." Her throat tightened. "Why? Why me?" "Because you walked into my life 2 weeks ago and somehow made your way into every thought I've had since." His voice dropped. "Because I want you safe more than I want to sleep. Because something about you." A loud slam cut him off. Jude had thrown a trash bin against her staircase. Adrian's jaw clenched. "I'm going out there." "No." She grabbed him again desperately. "Adrian, listen to..." "Jude is drunk, unstable, but he's not evil. He's not some monster you need to destroy." His voice turned colder. "He's a threat." "He's a mess," Mara corrected. "There's a difference." Another loud bang made her flinch. Adrian's protective instincts flared instantly. "I'm ending this." "No," she cried, stepping in front of the door, blocking him with her whole body. "If you go out there swinging, he'll never stop. He'll keep coming. He'll escalate. It'll become a war neither of you should fight." Adrian paused, really paused. "Mara," he murmured, "move." "No." "Mara." "No," she repeated, her voice cracking. "Let me talk to him." He stared at her for a long second, torn between logic and fire. Then he exhaled sharply. "Fine, but I'm right behind you." Relief washed through her, mixed with fear for what she was about to do. They opened the door together. Jude stumbled at the base of the steps, wild-eyed, face twisted with a drunken mix of heartbreak and rage. When he saw Adrian's silhouette behind Mara, he snarled. "So it's true," Jude spat. "You replaced me, just like that." "There's nothing to replace," Mara said carefully. "We ended months ago." "You didn't end anything," Jude screamed. "I wasn't done." Adrian stiffened behind her. Mara raised a hand in warning without looking back. "Adrian, don't." Jude pointed a shaking finger at him. "You think you can just take her from me?" "No one took me from you," Mara said, voice steadier now. "You lost me long before tonight." Jude's voice broke. I loved you. I know, she whispered, but love isn't supposed to feel like fear. That stunned him. His expression cracked, pain bleeding through the anger. You were scared of me? Jude whispered. Mara swallowed hard. Sometimes. Jude stumbled back like she'd punched him. I didn't mean, I never. Adrian stepped beside her slightly, supportive, not dominating. Jude noticed and tensed again. You don't get to stand there like some savior. Jude snapped at Adrian. She's mine. Mara stepped forward sharply. I'm not yours. Jude froze. Her voice was shaking, but her words were solid. I am not yours, Jude. Not your apology, not your unfinished business, not your mess to fix. I'm just a person who tried to love you and got tired of hurting. Jude's face crumpled. I'm sorry. I know, she whispered, but sorry doesn't make us work. He took a step back. So what? I should just walk away? Yes, she said softly. Walk away before the police get involved, before this becomes something ugly, before you regret tonight even more than you already do. For the first time, Jude looked at Adrian. You'd really fight me, huh? Jude asked bitterly. Adrian responded calmly. Only if you forced me to. Jude exhaled with a shaky laugh. You're crazy. Adrian didn't disagree. A long, tense silence stretched between them. Finally, Jude wiped his face, turned around and staggered off into the street, shoulders slumped, steps uneven. Mara's legs nearly gave out. Adrian caught her instantly. She leaned against him, breath trembling. Thank you for not making it worse. One of his hands slid up her back, steadying her. You handled him. No, Mara whispered. You let me. Adrian's chest rose sharply. I told you, I'll never take your choices away. I just want you safe. Her heart squeezed. She looked up at him, eyes glistening. You terrify me. He froze. Why? Because you protect too hard, want too intensely, care too much, too fast. Adrian's voice softened dangerously. Do you want me to stop? She hesitated, longer than she meant to. That's the problem, she whispered. I don't know. He brushed a thumb across her cheek. Then let me help you decide. Her breath caught. Mara, he said softly, I don't want your fear. I want your trust. She swallowed. Trust takes time. I have time, he whispered. She looked into his eyes, eyes that held darkness, control, devotion, all tangled into something magnetic and terrifying. And that, for the first time since she met him, she wasn't running. She nodded slowly. Then, stay. Just for tonight. Adrian's jaw tightened, not from anger, but something like relief. Then I'm staying. Later that night, they sat by the cracked window, Mara wrapped in a blanket, Adrian seated beside her, close enough for warmth, far enough for respect. You really would have fought for me, she murmured. I would have done worse, he admitted. Please don't say that. It's the truth. She sighed. You scare me, but you also make me feel safer than I've felt in a long time. He turned his head slightly toward her. Then maybe you understand me more than you think. She rested her head lightly on his shoulder. Maybe I'm starting to. He let out a slow breath, as if he'd been waiting for that exact moment. Mara, he said quietly, I'm not perfect. I'm intense. I'm possessive. I'm complicated. She closed her eyes. I know. But I'll never harm you. Ever. Her voice softened. I believe you. Good, he whispered, leaning his cheek gently against her head. Because I'm not letting you face anything alone again. For once, she didn't argue. Relief washed through her like a warm tide, exhausting, comforting, the kind that finally lets the body breathe. Outside, the night fell quiet. Inside, two broken people sat in the soft glow of the hallway light. Finally still, finally safe. Together. If this intense billionaire romance thriller gripped you, like to support the channel, comment your favorite moment, subscribe for more deep, emotional, addictive stories every week.